Hey everyone, welcome back to Taking Back Monday, and I am so excited to introduce you to a new series we're going to be doing called TBM Shorts. If you are connected with me on LinkedIn or follow me on LinkedIn, you might have seen that I have a newsletter called Taking Back Monday, and every other week I post articles about concepts or theories or experiences that I'm having in my own work life and try to transform that into practical strategies of how do we actually start to take back Monday. And one of the things that I really want to touch on is that Taking Back Monday is more than just shifting culture, but we're also looking at what are the tools, the hacks, the secrets, the process that we can put into our lives that goes beyond that touchy-feely mindset approach, which is important, but it's not the whole picture. And I am a firm believer that we are going to see a huge increase of AI into our future, and that AI is going to be a part of Taking Back Monday. Because if I can focus on automating the tasks or letting AI do some of the heavy lifting for me when it comes to those monotonous, repeated tasks that I just don't enjoy, and I can focus on doing what I'm really the best at, what I as a person, but also as a human being, just really have to be the one to do it. And so I've been trying to figure out how I connect the newsletter to the podcast and been toying with the idea of okay, do I just read the newsletter to you guys monologue style, like an audiobook, or do I come up with a new version of of the article and record it into the podcast? And I really haven't taken the leap because I didn't know what to do there. I just didn't want to add more work to my plate, but I also wanted to kind of do it, really struggling with that balance. And then a couple of days ago, one of our former Mondayers, Tim Hughes, posted that he had discovered a way to generate podcasts using AI. And I was immediately sitting up in my chair. And so today I am going to be sharing with you one of my newsletters that I posted back in February of 2024. And what you're about to hear is 100% generated by AI. I posted the article into the app, and it produced the following podcast. Now, a lot of podcasters are going to be using the same software, and you might even recognize these voices. I want you to know that I will always be upfront and honest with you about what is and isn't AI. So the following conversation you're about to hear is all about Taking Back Monday, celebrating the small wins, and is generated by AI. I hope you enjoy and are as mind blown as I am.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to dive into a new deep dive?
Absolutely. Always up for exploring new perspectives.
Well, get this. This one takes us on a journey to, happiness. Or at least a new way of thinking about it. One of you sent in this article about reverse planning, and I have to admit, the name threw me off a bit at first. Once I dug in, fascinating stuff.
Reverse planning. Okay, you've piqued my curiosity.
Yeah.
How does it differ from just regular old planning?
Right. So we're used to setting goals, mapping out the steps, and then hopefully reaching that finish line, but reverse planning flips that script. It's about hitting the pause button on all that future-focused stuff and instead looking back at our day and acknowledging the wins no matter how small.
Interesting. So instead of what do I need to do, it's what have I already accomplished?
Exactly. And the article argues that this simple shift can have a surprisingly powerful effect on our overall happiness and even our motivation. The author even shares how she stumbled upon this idea in the checkout line at Home Goods, of all places.
Hold on, Home Goods, as in the home decor store.
You heard that right. Seems she was feeling a little guilty about all those unused planners from years past, the ones with the pristine pages and ambitious goals. But then she spots this planner with the quote, "Be fearless in the pursuit of what makes you happy."
Okay, that's a pretty great quote. I can see how that might spark an idea.
It resonated with her, and that's when it clicked. She realized she could use a planner in a whole new way, not to map out the future, but to celebrate the present. So instead of overwhelming to-do lists, she started jotting down a few things she accomplished each day, things she was proud of, even if they seemed small.
I like that. It's easy to get caught up in the what's next and forget to appreciate how far we've come. But from a psychological standpoint, what's going on when we focus on those small wins? Why does it seem to have such a positive effect?
Well, that's what I found so interesting. The article touches on it briefly, but I'd love to hear your take.
Well, on one hand, it taps into the power of positive reinforcement. When we acknowledge accomplishments, our brain gives us a little reward. a dose of dopamine. That not only makes us feel good, but reinforces the neural pathways associated with those actions, making us more likely to repeat them.
It's like training our brains to seek out those positive experiences.
Exactly. But it goes beyond just a dopamine hit. Reverse planning also helps combat our natural negativity bias.
Oh, you mean how we often tend to dwell on what we haven't done or the mistakes we've made?
Precisely. It's a deeply ingrained human tendency. But by consciously shifting our focus to what we have accomplished, we interrupt that negativity cycle and cultivate a more positive and empowering mindset.
It's like gratitude in action.
Speaking of it makes me wonder if that's part of the reason gratitude journals have become so popular. They tap into that same concept.
Absolutely. There's a growing body of research highlighting the benefits of gratitude practices for boosting well-being. And reverse planning, in a way, can be seen as a form of active gratitude. We're not just reflecting on good things in general, but acknowledging our role in making them happen.
And it doesn't have to be about major milestones, right? The article really emphasizes finding those wins within the everyday. Like the author talks about nailing a new recipe or fitting in a 15-minute workout on a crazy busy day. And those are still wins. They might seem small, but they often represent significant steps toward bigger goals, healthier living, a more organized life, whatever those aspirations may be.
By celebrating them, we're not just acknowledging the action itself, but reinforcing those positive patterns and habits. So, okay, this all sounds great, but let's get practical. How can our listeners actually start incorporating reverse planning into their own lives? Do they need to rush out and buy a fancy planner?
Not at all. The beauty of reverse planning is its flexibility. It's about finding what works best for you. It could be as simple as using the Notes app on your phone, jotting down a few wins before bed, or maybe a dedicated notebook is more your style.
So, no need to overthink it. It's really about that intentional pause to acknowledge and celebrate our accomplishments. You know, the article mainly focuses on personal achievements, but it got me thinking, could this concept extend to other areas of life?
Oh, I like where you're going with this. How so?
Well, what about relationships? Could we apply reverse planning by, say, focusing on moments of connection rather than dwelling on disagreements?
Interesting. Or in creative endeavors, celebrating each step of the process instead of fixating solely on the final product.
Exactly. I think there's so much potential here to explore.
I agree. It's about shifting our perspective, finding those bright spots.
And who knows, maybe even inspiring others along the way. So, to our amazing listeners, we want to hear from you. Have you experimented with reverse planning? How have you applied it in your own life? Share your experiences. Until next time, everyone, keep those wins big and small coming.
And keep celebrating them.